Okay, hello to everyone and welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you all here. I'm Funke Tilo and I'm delighted to be your host for today's web conference, which promises to be conversations that are meaningful and forward-looking as the technologies that we are here to talk about. The energy industry has always thrived on innovation and it has always thrived on moving forward and looking forward to better things, from seismic mapping and horizontal drilling to grid optimization. But today, the landscape of innovation is shifting to one that doesn't just happen in the field or in the site or in the refineries. It's happening in our offices, in algorithms, in smart contracts, in our work processes, and in intelligent systems. The question is no longer, is it coming or is a change to how we work coming? The question for all of us is how fast are we adapting? And that's why this conference has been put together. This web conference is not about buzzwords. It was created with a different goal to go beyond the noise and really unpack what AI and other technologies mean for all of us and for us to see how we can actively be part of the transformation that is reshaping our industry. Think about it. When people hear AI, what comes to mind? It's usually things like ChatGPT, Gemini, deepfakes, or those dramatic headlines about AI taking over jobs and taking over our lives. While those are part of the conversation, they're actually not the whole story, and especially not for those of us in the energy space. Artificial intelligence, as that we all call AI, is no longer a futuristic concept. It's already here. It's already helping organizations to make smart decisions. It's already helping people reduce costs and is helping to enhance safety and streamline operations. Today's session is designed not just for the technical professionals. People have asked, is it just for the tech people? It's for a wide range of industry players. If you're in HR, you're in finance, you're an engineer, you're a project lead, you're in legal, or you're a compliance officer, or a business owner, or you're just someone who wants to understand where the real opportunities lie. That's what today's session is for. Now, we won't be able to cover everything today. We'll continue in the next session of this series. We'll also continue to unpack what AI is for our industry and other technologies, like how blockchain is also redefining trust, is helping transparency and work and helping in transactions, especially in the global energy supply chain. But today we are going to explore how AI is helping in hiring, helping to optimize maintenance, improve safety, and help in risk reduction. We have an incredible lineup of speakers that are joining us today. Each of them, they are bringing deep insights from their area of expertise. We'll begin with keynote presentations by all the speakers, and then we'll move to moderated session for question and answers, where we'll open the floor to your questions. Throughout the session, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box. This is going to be as interactive as possible. To kick off things, let's begin with a quick pulse check. What is that one word that comes to your mind when you hear AI in oil and gas, or AI in power, or AI in energy? Please type that in the chat box, whatever comes to your mind when you hear AI.
We're back. We're back.
Cost
The
reduction.
jams are back
Okay.
in business. Almost,
All
almost
right.
all of
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, Moses. We can hear you.
Okay.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, I was having
Market
trouble signing
modeling.
on.
Oh, so sorry to hear that. Simplification. Okay, please keep that coming. Keep that coming. While that is coming, I would like to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is Adeshina Odukoya, also known as Shino. Adeshina is a technical digital technology leader with over 15 years experience across diverse industries, including financial services, telecom, shipping, logistics, power, oil and gas. He's adept at spearheading IT projects and programs and driving in digital infrastructural build and operations. He has also been implementing business process improvements and cloud transformation initiatives. Additional has been recognized for strategic leadership in managing digital technology teams across the sub-Saharan Africa and the Middle East. He has a proven track record of delivering cost-effective solutions, optimizing operational efficiency, and ensuring adherence to international standards. And he's here to tell us about AI, what it means to him, and how it has been helping us improve our lives. Shino, are you ready?
Yeah, thank you very much, Funke. And it's great to be here. Please let me know you can hear me clearly.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Are you going to be sharing the slides? Or
You can share your screen.
okay, I am actually working from my iPad, so I
Okay.
won't mind if you can share.
Okay, just a second, please.
Okay, thank you very much. And glad to be here. I can see some names on the participants list, names I've not seen in a very long time. So it's good to see everyone. And to Axel and Mr. Akindowu, it's good to meet you. And Moses, good to meet you too.
See you
Again.
again.
Good, thank you very much. I'll be speaking briefly, touching on just AI in general terms and maybe some few use cases applicable to various industries. So if you could go to the next slide, Funke. Just before we started, Funke was asking us what AI means to us, maybe in our personal lives or in our industry. So I know we've all come into contact with AI in one form or the other, and then everybody has an idea of what AI is. But when I'm asked to define AI, I want to talk about it or think about it in terms of some keywords, maybe, and maybe some technologies and some capabilities as well. And talking about the keywords, I would say think about simulation, think about human intelligence, think about learning. And then when you talk about technologies, think around machine learning, natural language processing, robotics, computer vision, delivering capabilities like understanding language, recognizing patterns, making decisions, solving problems. All of these competencies that you have in the middle box, which is computer vision, neural networks, picture recognition, all of these capabilities would bring to mind what AI is capable of delivering to our world. And when you think around these things, think of it in a continuous self-learning and autonomous environment. So it keeps getting better as you plug in more data. It keeps getting better. It keeps learning from itself. It keeps learning from the data, and it keeps improving. If you can move to the next slide. Okay. So I know a lot of us have come in contact with generative AI, and maybe some of us have come in contact with agentic AI. So AI has been in development for several years. I could remember more than 20 years ago, I wanted to do my final year project in school on AI. That time we used to call it expert systems. And I did something. It ended up being like a search engine, but it was my own version of AI 20 years ago, 20 years plus. So generative AI is that subset of AI that we're all coming to become familiar with, which is around content generation. generating text like ChatGPT, generating images, music, videos, various content-based, materials. But some people are taking it a bit further now, working with agentic AI, and that is more like action-oriented AI that can do things, not just generate text alone, but can take actions, autonomous actions that you've predefined based on preset conditions. Independent decision making, it can, based on what's set and what it's learning, it can make independent decisions, and it can proactively achieve goals and solve problems. These are examples that you would find in robotic workflow automations that are tailored towards maybe customer service and stuff like that, that can, for instance, pick up an email, find some keywords in it, and based on those keywords, take some actions that are predefined for it to take. So that is taking AI beyond just the generative AI buzz that we are all familiar with, but taking it a step further into actually carrying out actions within our business environments. If you could take it to the next slide. So let's look under the hood. These slides are actually from one of the courses I took at MIT, and it's looking at the 4 pillars of machine learning. Machine learning being a key component of AI. And at the base of it all is data. There is a lot of data around the world, around everything we do. And when you think of maybe some few years back, there was this buzz about big data, and sort of like it has quietened down or fizzled out, but not so. Back then, we were talking of big data everywhere, big data, how to store it, how to use it, how to do big data analytics and all of those things. But now, big data is being used in every of these AI solutions that we are getting familiar with. So there's a lot of data at the base of AI being generated from various sources, from news, from sensors, from even everything we do on the internet. A lot of data is being generated. Like someone is just putting on the chat now, data is the new oil. Exactly. So this data, you need to take it into some level of processing towards making decisions for you. So you are trying to make predictions with the data. You are trying to understand your data, and then you are trying to carry out some statistical analysis of the data, regression analysis, classifications, neural networks. All of these things are happening under the hood of AI. And then based on how the data is analyzed using those statistical models and advanced models like neural networks, you're able to make decisions when you are in a situation where there is no certainty. You don't have certainty, but you've got data. And with the data, and based on the analysis that you've done on the data, or that the system has done, you're no longer doing the analysis yourself now. The system is doing it. There is the ability to make decisions. And beyond just making the decisions, you're able to work with determining causal inferences. So when there is a result, you're able to determine what caused that outcome based on all the analysis that happens within the AI. And when you look at IT generally, you'd see that there are some capabilities that have that have come to fruition in making this come to reality. When you talk of your data, I remember back in some years back, we used to talk about when you're maybe thinking of a wind farm where you've got a lot of wind turbines and all of that, a lot of data is being generated at the wind farm by each of the wind turbines. The sensor data on the atmospheric conditions, the wind speed, the rotation of the wind blades, the turbine blades themselves. All of this data is, maybe being generated every minute, every 5 minutes is consolidated, and then it's exported. without the internet, exporting the data will be difficult. And when you think of also the capability to store this much data, cloud has enabled that. You're able to store as much data as you want because there are now cloud technologies that can store the data in various forms of databases and all that. That you've got quite a wide range from Apache, Cassandra to Hadoop and all of those fancy technology solutions. And then on top of that, the icing on the cake is actually quantum computing, because when you've got a lot of data, then you've got the limitation of the compute. How is your system able to handle and process these data, especially when you are talking of models like neural networks, which are very complex algorithms that the systems need to run. Your typical server will not be able to function effectively. It will do some stuff, but depending on how much data you're talking about and how complex the algorithms are, your servers will struggle. But now with the advent of quantum computing, which by the way is made available by the hyperscalers, the cloud operators, you don't need to have your own quantum computer. You can always use one from any of these providers, and then you're able to plug in your data into that level of power, compute power, to fast track the data processing and enable decision making right when you need to make the decision. So you're not getting your data from the wind farm to some server room somewhere for some people to work on later on, and then for some management guys to make decisions. All of this is happening at the same instant. Decisions are being made by the AI models, and then actions are being carried out right there on the farm in response to all the data that you're getting from your sensors, from the news, from the environment, So that is what has made these capabilities possible. And with the way technology is progressing, there seems to be no limit to how far this can go. You can move on to the next slide from there. So we'll be looking at some of the global use cases. There are a lot of them. I tried to reduce, but in AI, in healthcare, for instance, I heard of this technology that is able to predict the possibility of breast cancer 5 years before it even shows up. Imagine that. It's able to, based on scans from various people around the world and some patterns in the scans of few people who go on to develop full-blown breast cancer, the AI solution is able to take on any scan, any mammogram, and then predict 5 years before it happens if anyone is going to have cancer. Imagine the miracle of that. But it's right here, it's available, and people are already using it. It's not yet widespread all over the world, but it's a solution that is available at MIT today. Let's look at another use case. If you can move on to the next slide. Manufacturing is another one. It's very interesting in manufacturing. I know there's a lot of manufacturing intertwined with oil and gas. So manufacturing predictive maintenance. Imagine before now you used to have to, order your parts, schedule preventive maintenance and all those things. But that is a thing of the past. Imagine the airline industry where you've got your planes flying all over the world, and then the longer your aeroplane stays in the air, time on wing, the better for you. The more productive the plane is, the more turnover you are able to make. So that means you want to reduce your maintenance time on the aeroplanes. You don't want it packed in some shop somewhere, waiting for some parts to arrive from one other part of the world and all that. But with AI and concepts like the digital twin, you are able to simulate what's going to happen with various parts in the airline's operation or in the airline's system. And then based on this simulation and what you're doing with the digital twin, you're able to age parts and predict what's going to happen with those parts in particular number of hours of operation. So that way you're able to tell when a particular part is going to become defective or when it's going to be due for replacement. And that means because you know the schedule of the plane, you know where it's going to be at any particular time, you know where your spare part is coming from your supply chain optimization, you're able to make the part available to that airplane at any location around the world based on your AI optimization and reduce the number of hours or the time it takes to maybe replace that part. That way you're able to keep your airplane working. This happens in manufacturing a lot. You're able to predict when parts are going to wear out and require maintenance, and then you're able to optimize your supply chain to make those parts available, optimize the timing for scheduling the maintenance. So you don't need to have pre-scheduled downtimes every time. You just fix it when you need to fix it. And it can be just a particular component or one other part component. It doesn't have to be shutting down the whole plant to fix or preempt and plan extensive maintenances. So that is how it's working in manufacturing today. If you can move on, Funke. Oil and gas. I know we have Moses here to give us a very good deep dive in oil and gas, but being experts and professionals, most of us here on the call, AI is already plugged into exploration, drilling operations, and a lot of things are happening with that already. All the seismic analysis, AI is very good with analyzing patterns, analyzing scans. So all of this seismic data, imagine how much processing capabilities can come from quantum computing and AI to tell you exactly where to drill, how rich the different areas are, So all those optimizations, optimizing drilling data, drilling parameters, bit pressure, all of those things as it's happening real time, real life, you're able to, based on the sensor data, the logs coming from the oil well, you're able to adjust your operation, reduce non-productive time. All of that is possible or are in operation already in oil and gas fields around the world, and it's optimizing production, reducing downtime, and then helping with safety, helping with supply chain optimization, and all of that. So to just bring it to a close or to a wrap, there's a lot of capabilities in education, in healthcare, intelligence world, defense, and all of those things. AI is already in play in all of these places. I know Moses is on the call and he's got very insightful content to give us even more detail around oil and gas. So I'll pass it on to Funke to introduce the next speaker as we go on along this interesting AI journey. Thank you very much, Funke, and thanks everyone for having me.
Thanks a lot, Shino. Thank you for those insights on general application. And we are rooting for MIT on the breast cancer and other development. I'll just quickly go to introduce our next speaker. That's Axel Grunberg. Axel, are you ready?
I'm here, Funky.
Okay, so Axel is a serial entrepreneur with diverse backgrounds spanning high-level roles in the Norwegian Armed Forces and leadership positions in multi-million-dollar tech startups in Norway. Axel is in Oslo. His experience bridges the complexities of large-scale bureaucracies and dynamic agility of the fast-paced startup environments. I know about that. Axel is a passionate early adopter of AI. He was going to be telling us advantages of being an early adopter. He has a burning passion for business operations, and as the CEO of Pro AI, he now empowers agile businesses to leverage the latest AI strategies, driving innovation and efficiency. Axel, over to you. You can share your screen, please.
That's perfect. Thank you, Funky. That's a great introduction. And I just want to make sure that everyone is muted who are not contributing. I was hearing some noises. So I got to start off a bit stern here. I'll share my screen. Can you see this, everyone?
Yes, I can see.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, again, thank you so much for the great introduction. My viewpoint, as you said, is first and foremost from the armed forces on the administrative level, spanning, working with 8,000 people in the organization I was in and doing a lot of strategic calls. Now, what I noticed there is the bigger the organization, the more bureaucracy, the less agile the organization tend to become. So I'm going to talk a bit more about that later on, but yeah. So I've titled this "Writing the AI Revolution" and how to win while the rules are still being written. And those two are important because we are in a revolution and the rules are still being written. So this might be obvious for everyone here since you are up to speed and joining in on a webinar like this. You are looking for the new information, which means that you know that a lot of stuff has changed and keeps changing. But I want to share some of the principles I see that are important to stay ahead in this game because there are massive opportunities going on right now. All right. So the first step of a revolution is accepting the revolution. There is one. The size of the AI or the magnificence of the AI in the world today is equivalent to the Gutenberg press when that came out with information sharing and making information readily available to everyone. And also the internet in the 90s that has just about changed everything about our lives. And that is the scale of what we're facing today. And I think it's important to look at the history of these revolutions because there are some tendencies that repeats themselves. One of them being skepticism. As you know, in the internet, when that came along, you'll find a lot of funny examples of people saying this is just a fad or comparing the technology of the 90s to the cutting edge technology they had at the time and how the internet wasn't superior to that. And I see the same thing with AI going on a lot today. And that was my first reaction to AI as well. I was first introduced to ChatGPT when it just came out. I was working for a startup as a marketer, and one of the IT guys sent a sample marketing text. And it really hit a nerve with me because I thought the text was better than what I usually wrote. So I felt threatened by it. And for a couple of weeks after that, I just wanted to avoid ChatGPT altogether because I was feeling threatened. So it took some time for me to accept that. And I still see a lot of people feeling threatened by this, but the way I see it, the sooner you accept that things are changing and the sooner you hop on this, the better things are going to be, and things are going to be better. One of the things I want to say regarding the principles of winning in this revolution is that mass adoption follows simplicity. So a lot of things have changed and technology enables things. However, you don't usually see the massive changes before a few years has passed. And although we have the technology and the tools, they don't become mainstream until they're simplified to a super high degree. And you'll notice today a lot of startups are being started every single month, tackling specific solutions and building on AI. So just one example is that over a year and a half ago, you had Midjourney that allows you to create super realistic images. You could do face swaps. You could do all types of creativity. However, the big boom in image generation came just under a month ago when ChatGPT updated their image model. And this is because people are already used to ChatGPT, and all of a sudden they could create images the same quality as Midjourney could. But a year and a half ago, you could jump on that. And that trend will keep on going now. So today, there are also a lot of tools and technologies that not a lot of people know about, but that you can jump on while you're still in the phase here between complex technology and simplification. So the key here is to be on it before the masses adopt it. Because the thing is with shortcuts in business, when they first come, they're shortcuts. But after a little while, it's the new standard. So shortcuts only last for a short while. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to the next step here. And as the previous presentation went into, is that big players are already in this. Some examples like Shell, they're monitoring millions of sensors, and Equinor, which is a Norwegian company, they are data handling in a massive scale, allowing them to pick up on issues long before a human can do it with conventional data management. And pretty much every big company is investing a lot of money into this and building complex and huge infrastructures for data handling. And the common denominator by the big players is data, because that is what AI is super good at, is analytics, compiling huge amounts of data. And so the biggest players are installing sensors on everything and starting as early as possible of building databases to tackle this moving ahead. Now, even though there's big budgets being allocated toward this innovation by the big players, the contrast is that us entrepreneurs and smaller teams are able to move much faster and adopt things at a much faster pace than the bigger companies. Just an example, a smaller startup with 10 people don't have to move through months of change leadership and culture changes to adopt new technology if you're sharing the same office and able to switch quickly. And so I believe the wormhole, so to speak, is closing, but it's still open for smaller players to jump on the newest strategies and get ahead before the big players even writes up their project mandate. So it is a fascinating time. It might be scary looking at the bigger companies doing this, but just know that being small and agile is a massive leverage today, perhaps a bigger leverage than ever before in human history. So just some practical examples for most companies, most smaller companies are starting to adopt automated outreach.
Apparently, big for
you Ocean, if you will. Thank you. Yeah, automated outreach. There are now ways of scraping thousands of people, lists of contact information and informations on people that you then can use to build out automated emails that are written for you. You can then just scroll through the list and use the personalized icebreakers and personalized info to reach out to people, be it business partners, customers, and so forth. You have AI chatbots using language modules trained on your company's information, acting as an ambassador for people visiting your website, for example, but also handling all the common customer inquiries and in a far more intelligent way than just 2 or 3 years ago. And as an extension of this, you now have voice models capable of handling voice calls and people calling in without the stupid press 1 to reach support or so forth. You can actually have a conversation now and move intelligently for the information you seek. And content generation, of course, blog posts, research, articles, so forth. And to adopt some of these technologies, you don't need a huge team because there's so many tools on the market available now, consumer grade. I'll get into that shortly. So here's just some examples of platforms. One of them being Make.com. I showed you here is an example of a so-called workflow that allows you to just do simple drag and drop modules. One of them being here is when a customer fills out a Google form, it will automatically update a Google Sheets. And as soon as that happens, an email is sent out to the customer, and also a message in Teams is sent out to the team that a new order has been placed. And these workflows can be built out huge. And of course, you can incorporate language models into them. And businesses are already using this today to automate a lot of the business processes that are repetitive. And that is what my job is at ProAI. And we help dozens of companies implementing this and also building out new applications on request faster than ever before and cheaper than ever before. So a quick sample of this I want to show you is bolt.new. This is sort of like ChatGPT, but you can just prompt here to build out an app or a website super quick. So here's an example. I did a prompt called create a new website for the energy company Axel Energy. And within 5 minutes of this prompt, it generated all the node code here. And we have a website ready for publications. It's about 80% there. But you could just ask this to add a new section or an app or any features you want. Another example here is a mobile-friendly web app for an energy company dashboard. This is, of course, very primitive, but this is a pretty easy way to calculate based on how much energy you produce, what the revenue will be. And as you can see, we're doing great. 37 million within the first 10 minutes of launch. All right. In regard to finding the right people, strategy-wise, finding AI-forward people, you cannot think in the conventional way of looking at degrees and years of experience and proven techniques, because so many new technologies and solutions are coming pretty much every day. You need a high degree of curiosity and forward-leaning mentality. So it will take some years before universities are able to encapsulate the practical uses of AI in the same way that YouTube or LinkedIn or thought leaders in this space are doing already. So I urge you to be innovative in your hiring practices, attend webinars like this, and also physical meetings where AI curious people are attending, and build a network this way. It will be a massive leverage because the rules are still being written and there currently is little best practices. So yeah, AI is the Wild West currently, and that is your edge. So we are yet to figure out this whole thing. Everything is changing rapidly. So adopt a mentality of positivity towards AI and positivity towards testing instead of skepticism. For example, don't get stuck in ethical overthinking. I see a lot of companies doing this and a lot of people falling into this pitfall. Of course, ethics matter, and of course, AI brings some risk. But don't let that be your first question, your first objection, and your whole principle is calculating the risk. Be willing to test new solutions and build prototypes and sort of jump on the hype, but before implementing fully. But adopt a test first way of thinking instead of letting objections cloud your thinking or let you be complacent. Because as I was saying, when everything is mainstream, it's already too late to get an edge. So be curious and be fast moving in this. So for the principle of this, accept that the revolution is real, it's happening, it's something you should be on, which you are, as you are in this webinar, for example. And simplicity of the solutions is what drives adoption. So be willing to work with some more complicated and hard to find informations and dig a bit. Bureaucracies, they're slow, so use that to your advantage. And data is one of the keys to building this. Start tracking, build a good infrastructure of whatever you want to track, whether it's your lead funnel, customer flow, your business dashboard. Gather as much data as you can, because it will become useful later on. Small teams can win with no code, good solutions, and most of all, guts. And hire for mindset, not credentials. There are 18-year-olds now building solutions you would not believe. So don't be discriminating based on age or that type of stuff. There's some good deals to be made right now. And final of all, don't overthink. Try, fail, and learn fast. So I'm wrapping up here. I want you all to add me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'll paste the link here. I love discussing this stuff. And yeah, thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Axel. Thanks for your insight for businesses, especially. Be very AI curious. And I like that it's an advantage to be small and agile, and you can move faster with AI. Would take questions from you later. I can see some questions directed at you. So we've had support from corporate organizations. A lot of companies that then supported us, and we're very grateful. So we're gonna take a message from one of our sponsors. That's Spectrum Crest Services, oil and gas service company. Briefly. There's no audio to that. Can we replay that? Okay. And while that is going on, I would introduce our next speaker. And that is Akin Idowu, also known as Akinola. Akinola Idowu is a seasoned energy consultant and the managing director of Stellarsolve Energy Limited, where he leads cutting-edge digital transformation initiatives across the oil and gas sector. He's also the principal consultant for Stellar Geoconsult in Houston, Texas. He has a strong background in subsurface geoscience and reservoir technology. Akinola has a deep expertise in applying AI-driven solutions to accelerate field development, optimize well planning, and improve reservoir understanding. Throughout Stellarsolve's collaboration, they've done a lot of work with geophysical insights in Houston. Akinola has pioneered the use of Paradise AI, which is a workbench in major African basins. They've been delivering tangible results in seismic analysis, reservoir characterization, and well risk reduction. In this webinar, he's going to be sharing with us AI-based interpretation in complex fault blocks. He's going to show us how the AI has been helping to enable risk reduction for exploration and development campaigns. Are you ready, Aki? You can share your screen.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in this. Good evening, everyone, or good day, wherever you're watching this from. Thanks to all the panel, all the folks that my colleagues that have shared prior to now, and some of the things, very exciting things they've spoken about. Particularly, I mean, I had Shinos talk about the fact that AI continuously learn and also keeps improving even the solutions it provides for you. And also listening to Axel share about all the how to actually adapt and how to adopt some of these new technologies. So can you hear me? Just a voice check. Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes, we
Okay.
can.
So I titled this AI-powered subsurface intelligence transforming oil and gas industry in sub-Saharan Africa. So for us, I mean, we're actually in the field. We from Dakar all the way to Lagos, we have been out there trying to ensure and engage and let people begin to adopt this technology. And for business people, the most important thing for them is how it impacts the bottom line. I was privileged to listen into a conversation of a VP of one of the IOCs years back, and he was a bit worried about a lot of tech people who always like to adopt new things and not use it to create values. So when one gentleman came and made a proposal, talked about this new great technology, the response of the top executive was, "You want another toy?" So until it actually creates value, all you just have is another toy. And I mean, it's every business wants to make profit and increase their revenue. Okay, so essentially, I will be sharing with you guys on the oil and gas, the particularly risk. You all know that oil and gas is a very risky business, and it's even more is riskier when you look at the frontier markets like sub-Saharan Africa, like where we are. But artificial intelligence is an excellent risk reduction tool. And what it does is it actually leverages things. I mean, we use it to solve use data from seismic to help, or some of the other data from the oil and gas to help reduce exploration costs. Things like we also ultimately help to enhance the investment confidence of financiers. That's one thing I will touch on a lot in this talk because in Africa, but compared to the rest of the world, we do not get as much funding for many of our oil and gas opportunities, oil and gas assets like the rest of the world. And this might be one of the solutions that we need. First of all, I would like to show you all typical life cycle so that you understand the oil and gas business a little bit. So the life cycle of an oil and gas of a field takes from about 20 years to about 50 years. That's how long it takes from the beginning and all to the end of the field, the life of that field. And essentially is broken into exploration and production. That's the major divisions. However, the exploration stage actually takes about 5 to 10 years, while the production stage takes about 15 to 30 years. At the exploration stage, the discovery, you can break that down into the discovery and also the evaluation stages. That's at the beginning when you are you're just starting off things. And eventually you move into development, you try to determine, okay, so how am I going to get all the oil out, determine how many wells, and those periods are very, very important, and how you go about things at those stages are very important. Then gets to the production stages where you actually are producing for maybe about 15 to 30 years. And ultimately, there's also abandonment. People don't talk a lot about that, but when you leave, you have to actually also to actually leave the place in a way, safe manner, and a way that is compliant to the regulatory bodies in where you're operating. And in every sector, all these sections that I talked about, the discovery, the evaluation stage, the development stage, the production stages, and abandonment, you do have specific technologies that are driven from that are actually from AI and also some other technologies that are applicable to those areas. And there's several of them that have been developed, and I will actually focus on maybe one of them that we are actually the one we are actually, I would say, advocating for in this in sub-Saharan Africa. The discovery stage. The discovery stage is also an important stage in the sense that that's where you define the most value. So I want to show you this guy in any project. If you look at to the left, the chart that we're looking at talks about how much value we create over time and in the lifetime of a project when you're trying to explore or exploit oil and gas. At the beginning stage, you find out, okay, like I said, is the opportunity and identification stage. And when you find it, the beginning of creating value. Most value really for any project in the oil and gas or any project at all is actually created the most at the value identification stage. And if you look at the value realization stages, you hardly create more value. As you can see in this, it goes, if you do a good job, you actually go way up, and the value, you find the project exceptionally well using all the data that you have, data from seismic, data from all the things that you have, and you're able to interpret and analyze exceptionally well, then you have a good project. But if you do not, and you don't use the top-notch very good tools to help you define opportunities well, then eventually you have very low, not too good. The value you create is so small. And it does not matter how well you execute going forward, you really don't increase the value of that opportunity significantly any longer. Actually, if you execute exceptionally well, you will not be as good as someone who did a good job defining the project and did not execute well. So as you can see in the B scenario here. So the place you want to be is either in the A or B scenarios. You don't never want to be in the C and D, and that is all driven by how well you did in the value identification stage. So applying these solutions, the AI solution to this, is really, ensuring that you applied at the beginning. The biggest impact in your project or in actually working on your project are those tools that you're able to apply early on while you are identifying the value. And why it matters is because significantly it reduces why AI matters is because it reduces things like data error, and also helps to in storing. You are able to store on integrated platforms where most of these AI data actually they are located. And then you can do exceptional analysis, you process, and all it does is enables you. It doesn't take the responsibility of using your basic understanding. Maybe you're a geologist or petroleum engineer. You still have to be able to apply to actually utilize the knowledge that you have. SMEs are not ruled out yet. It's an enabler. It augments your ability to solve problems. So at the end of the day, what all of this leads to is that it helps to reduce and minimize dry hole risks. We all know that wells the cost of drilling wells are significant. It could be $100 million, $150 million sometimes. And if you're able to reduce that by just 30%, that's significant. And you actually drive down the cost, and you can increase the margin or the revenue that you're going to be making, profitability of the projects that you're doing. Then the other side, which we all know, is velocity. The value of having AI is the velocity, meaning that you can get information a lot faster. I think Axel mentioned that a little bit. And also I think Shino too mentioned something about that. Being able to get your data from the field in real time and making real-time decisions. So when you're able to do that, speed things up, you are able to actually also create value in that, because if you're able to shorten the cycle time, time is money, and you're able to make money in the process. The next and very important that I will emphasize a lot in this talk is the fact that investor confidence is improved. Most investors are looking for you to have de-risked your opportunity, that you have used all that is possible to showcase that what you say they're going to get, or what you're promising from your project, you're able to deliver it. So that is so important, and that's one of the biggest points that I will be talking about or be sharing with you today. And the last point is, which I'm personally passionate about, is that AI now is actually helping to attract next generation workforce. We all know that kids of today really love to play games. And I mean, for me, my kids are they're like getting away from being teenagers now. They are young adults. But when they were teenagers, they spent lots of hours playing games. But I mean, the way that AI and some of these technologies have been applied in the oil and gas is actually mimicking playing games. For example, how nice would it be if all the passion and all the energy some of these kids have playing games is translated to a place where they are rewarded, they are paid doing that. If you look at, for example, the digital twin technology, where they can see the field from the office location and be working. Essentially, it's almost like playing. So communicating this to the next generation guys will attract many of them to coming into the oil and gas, and we'll be able to have workforce. We need people to continue to execute some of the projects that we have in the oil and gas. And this actually leads me to talking about the software that I'm passionate about, which is the Paradise. So is the seismic interpretation that we have been deploying in the sub-Saharan region. It was actually developed by Geophysical Insight. It actually used what they call self-organizing maps algorithm, and it also used CNN as well. So essentially, is able to solve three things: thin beds, fault compartments. Is able to help define that exceptionally well. And the one that I think is really the most impactful is the reservoir facies definition. So a couple of real-world AI cases. Before I get into this, many of the things that I will have to share with you are still in the early stages of execution with many of our clients, and we do not have show rights. But I can show you things that are very similar globally, and that's what I'll be showing you now. And as you can see, there are real-world use cases that of these solutions around in Gulf of Mexico, for example. AI has helped to increase recoverable reserve by 20%. It's like saying, okay, they were going to make $100 billion, and now they have an extra $20 billion because of the tool that was applied. So it's able to recover more reserves. Then in the North Sea, it's also been applied for well placement. Well placement meaning you're able to put the well in the best location where you will not have to drill several, have to spend a lot more money and also a lot more time to get to where the opportunity is. And then this leads to drilling cost reduction by about 15%. Also in Eastern Europe, it's been used to define reservoir thickness estimates, securing project financing. That's big deal in the oil and gas because you always will need financing. You need some financing because, I mean, it's capital, as we all know, oil and gas is capital intensive industry. Here are specific examples showing where these have been used. AI had been used, particularly the seismic interpretation workbench. Essentially, what this does, the workflow that it uses, it goes from generating some attributes and eventually goes to the PCAs, eventually goes to now generate classifying the data set into the self-organizing, using the self-organizing map algorithm, and ultimately is able to generate what they call the geobodies. So if you look at on the right-hand side, you will see what we call the attribute topologies, different topologies, meaning classifications and the clusters. So you have the results showing some level of details in the 3x3 topology. You can see 4x4. I won't go into great details into this, so don't worry. Trying all the technical jargons, but essentially the 4x4 topology shows you more details. You're able to see, you'll be able to maybe place your well better on this one, and you can see the platforms, the carbonate platforms, and where you'll be able to determine where you need to put your wells in these ones. So thanks to Carrie Lodon, who actually, one of my colleagues, who actually helped to get this. Then another good example is the one which is in a clastic system in India. So here it was the two algorithms that are used in this one. There's still the self-organizing map algorithm plus there's a second one that was used. But again, ultimately, the lithophage logs were generated, and what this does is able to see a thin reservoir that is several times smaller than what the traditional seismic data would see. So, and that, thanks to this, the AI technology is able to help you do a lot better job. And it also removes your bias, because for us as geologists, if you have asked 3 geologists to come up with an interpretation, they probably will have 3 different interpretations, although they will be close, but you see some differences. But this actually takes out bias, individual bias, and gives you something that is pretty much standard for in terms of defining what the subsurface looks like. And the time to create this is a lot. It takes the fraction of the time to get this done versus what used to happen traditionally. So, and since time is money, there's cost saving as a result of applying this technology. And lastly, in terms of the DHI, the examples, this is where it was the technology was applied to save a very important to make a very important decision. I mean, the target, if you can all see my cursor, this well actually had seen gas, and at this point where the cursor is, and they're looking at the same thing up deep, and they're saying, okay, this must also be what we drilled into here. Yeah, it looked like that. If you had done maybe the way we do our work in geology, they would have thought that, oh, these are also an hydrocarbon, something that will be profitable. But lo and behold, it's just shale. That means it's mud. And thanks to the technology, it's what helps us to be able to define that and say, oh, instead of wasting maybe over $100 million going to build this, say, no, don't go there. It's just mud. It's not the hydrocarbon that you're looking for. So generally, very important. I'm getting to the end of this presentation. So in Africa right now, we do have a lot of opportunities, but because we all compete for funds from the same basket or the same bucket globally, because we need to be able to define our opportunity using the same criteria that most of these financiers will be looking for, because they were looking for the risk opportunities that they can be sure that you'll be able to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. So using this technology will help us to be able to match at least what all the other people and other places around the world, when we all go to the same places asking for financiers to fund our projects, if we're able to apply this technology, we will be able to now be able to convince them. Out of all the 5 criteria listed here, 3 of them, like the economic viability, strong ROI, cost efficiency, risk mitigation, technology integration, applying AI in those 3 areas is going to actually help enhance the kind of how we communicate and showcase that we have de-risked our opportunity. As at last year, $1.7 trillion was allocated to oil and to the energy industry, and very, very extremely little actually came to Africa, and that's a concern. And it's pretty simple, like the quote, it says, capital, money is a coward. It doesn't really want to go to a place where you have not, there are political instability, economic uncertainty. And when you have not properly de-risked your opportunity, at least the thing that is within our control is the ability to de-risk the opportunity. So let's make sure we do it. Let's leverage technology and ensure we do that. So finally, so Stellarsoft Energy is leading the charge in this across Africa, from Dakar, Senegal, to Lagos, Nigeria, going to governments and talking to people. And essentially, our vision is to empower African energy players with AI-driven solutions for profitable, resilience, and net zero goals. So the strategy, we also give, we do live demos and webinars for people who want to actually get to see how this is applicable to them. And we come up with tailor-made solutions. We also pilot projects initially, sometimes depending on, we could do free projects to just test this. And we actually have been helping government, industry leaders to get things done. And thought leadership, of course, like, showing the global trends. If you follow us, you always be abreast of what is happening. So again, these are my details, contact. If you want to reach me, you can always reach me, and we can continue the conversation. Thanks for this opportunity. And
thank you so much, Ake. It was good to know the things that you've been doing, especially in Sub-Saharan Africa, and how you've helped with exploration. We'll continue this conversation, because there's been a lot of encouragement for Africa to continue drilling, and we'll be looking at your technologies. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Looking forward to the questions.
Yes, I've seen a question there for you. So we're going to take this from one of our sponsors.
At Central Crest, we are a global leader in oil and gas services, delivering innovative offshore and onshore solutions. We are committed to building strong indigenous oil and gas competence across sub-Saharan Africa, leveraging our highly experienced team to create opportunities for stakeholders, driving both skill development and shared prosperity. Founded in Nigeria, our dedication to excellence has enabled us to expand our footprint across sub-Saharan Africa and the United States, with operations in Mozambique, Cameroon, Angola, Congo, Nigeria, and the US. Our expertise spans oil well services and completion, project management, drilling operations, engineering services, API 6A wellhead and tree equipment, and oil and gas supplies. We pride ourselves on providing first-class solutions with a strong focus on safety, efficiency, and the development of indigenous capacity through strategic partnerships and a highly skilled team. At Spectrum Crest, we don't just support energy operations, we empower them. Contact Spectrum Crest today.
Okay, I'll go on to introduce our next speaker. That is Moses. Moses
Hey.
link. Yeah, hi Moses.
Hi.
This is a strategic and result-driven engineering leader with over 25 years of experience spanning the complete engineering lifecycle, and he's been directing multidisciplinary teams to deliver successful EPC projects. That's engineering, procurement, and construction projects, and also product development initiatives and a lot of R&D programs. Moses has demonstrated ability to steer complex projects from inception to completion, and he showcases strong leadership, technical acumen, and innovative problem-solving skills. And then Moses is going to be sharing some of that for us today, from AI, from the wells to AI. Moses, are you ready? You can share your screen.
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. I also you may have to share
Okay.
that for me. Here's my return the video. Share. Can we do that? Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, I think we
Yeah.
can, but I lose my little panel here, so I can't kind of adjust my thing, but it's okay. Oh, it jumped to the top, so I see. Okay. So just thank you for the opportunity to speak with you guys today. And I think the previous speaker, Akeem, he was more into the exploration stage on the oil and gas workflow. But my involvement for the past 25 years, mainly in production phase, I've been in, mainly drilling, production, and enhancement on the well side. And today, let me go on to the other page. On today's journey, we want to talk about unstructured data challenges. So what is unstructured data and why unstructured data make a big difference? And the next thing we want to talk about is the LLM revolution. What is the effect of the evolution of ChatGPT or LLM has effects on the energy and oil and gas, mainly oil and gas industry. And then the next topic we want to talk about is AI transformation across the whole operation, the real application of the, from reservoir, like from the Akeem stage on the exploration stage into the drilling in the production stage. I think I'll probably just briefly blown over some of the slides because we went into more detail on the reservoir and stuff. I was mainly focused on the drilling and the production side. And then the last is the case study that we did. Actually, we implemented these case in one of our production site. Is using the IoT and how these help the framework. They help our using the IoT framework we combine with AI, how it helps how it helps this operation on the operation side on the predictive maintenance and enhance production side. So let's jump into talking about unstructured data. And you see this iceberg here. I think you have probably seen this, thousands of times. I mean, 80% of the data I think is probably hidden on the bottom on top because for the geological report, drilling logs, maintenance record, and sensor data. Some of the sensor data are already structured. I mean, if you numbers, but you can have a lot of other sensor data that are non-structured. And then regulatory documents also, also is unstructured. Any type of document, any type of speech, video, and all those are what we call unstructured data. But for to take advantage of AI, you have to make those data, compute, actually, not AI, compute. You have to take those data from unstructured into a structured phase so the compute can apply. But if you look at historically, oil and gas has been very, very heavily dependent on data and computing. Like the guy said earlier, data is the new oil, but also you don't remember to find oil, you also need data, a lot of data. So it's kind of like a circular thing. So data is how we predict and see the subsurface stuff with seismic stuff we pull in, and also in the operation. And these aligns very well with the advance in computing. So if you look at the early computer company that are mainly like TI and all those other guys, they came from the oil field because they have a demand, they have a need to analyze those data that coming from the geophones, and also turning the unstructured data into structured data is almost impossible without LLM. You can see back in the days, they don't have LLM. They have to use the manual method to turn those data into some form of structured data so they can process it with a computer. So and then we'll move into the revolution in the energy with the LLM. With the introduction of the NLP, which is a natural language processing, and the transformer model, we have ChatGPT and all the other stuff that comes along with it. We call it a large language model, which can actually takes a lot of unstructured data and convert it into a structured data where we can run it through a machine learning to do a prediction. So before the days of the LLM, we had to process those by hand a lot of time. And sometimes some of the data without the LLM, we can't even get to, because a lot of time human beings are not very good at looking at multidimensional data. And with the LLM, if you can convert it into a structured data, then that can be processed easily with a model. So here's the picture that I want to emphasize. In the old days, you see this guy with drawing boards and everything, and you had to actually take the unstructured data into a structured data. But with AI, you actually let the AI extract the data for you. That's probably one of the biggest game changer in this. So the impact of the LLM is like usually it took weeks to complete something, but now decision can be made really fast because within minutes sometimes because of this revolution. And our next series, what I want to talk about into the different area that it transformed the oil and gas industry. I think the beginning is probably mostly the reservoir evaluation stuff. So I think you have heard previously by Akin how these actually help. His software can help these on these aspects, like automating seismic analysis, historical pattern recognition, and also risk assessment and recommendation, and then the result is improved over 60% faster on evaluation and a higher, better success rate. So which turned into a more a better way to evaluate your asset. And in the well design and planning phase, I mean, you can see this picture here. I mean, this is actually an AI generated picture, but this actually is one of the software that we use to do well placement and wells optimization, and also how to do the drill path. And this actually helped with AI. Actually, before they had to do it by hand, which is a very intensive task, because like you showed earlier, Akin, they have a bunch of reservoir, like especially on an unconventional resource, like we dealing with now more in the U.S. is you have multiple fracture in the reservoir, so you have to plan the path that goes the best path that can get your optimal reservoir. So with AI, that can be done very, very quickly. So the process can be done over 40% faster and a 15% in cost reduction. So with a better path, you actually reduce the amount of testing you had to drill, and also a better optimization of your plan. And also with compliance with large language model, understanding what the compliance is, that can actually check for you before you had to manually check by human. So, but the human still had to be verified at the end. So that actually help human moving a lot faster. And the next this is what I've been dealing with for my past 25 years, drilling, production, and workover enhancement is how AI transforms. Is I think after Macondo, everybody know the hazard prediction for drilling. Drilling is a very, very hazardous, very dangerous operation, and to understand how you're going to drill and have be able to react to the kicks and all the other aspect of the issue is very, very important. So with AI, you can have historical data to identify a problem before they occur, and also this is another thing that with the next case study that we will do is about being able to boost performance and do NPT, which is non-productive time reduction, is to be able to predict the failure of the equipment, and also preventative maintenance before, and you can do a maintenance before it's ready, and you don't have to do a fixed maintenance, which a lot of time will replace parts before it was ready to be replaced. So, and then the automated report part is like the drill log and stuff like that. But if we have for example, our latest auto drill system, it can actually automatically generate all those reports for you on the fly. And then also safety alerts, which I mentioned earlier, is tied into the hazardous stuff, is you can predict the situation before you get there. And also another thing is with the AI feedback auto drill is it can react a lot faster. I mean, the normally when humans drilling a well, you have to look at all the pressures and all the inputs, and your reaction time is you have to see a certain things increase or decrease a certain situation, and then you will do your action. But with the AI assist drilling, those are actually sampled in sub 1 second reaction time. So the effects is you can look at the pressure curve and the drilling, direction. The drilling path is a lot smoother than when a human was correcting, because a human has a slower reaction time. And moving along to completion. So with historical frac data, report the wells, you can better manage the well. And actually, we'll talk about Alice. Is a system that Chevron actually created. It's a very comprehensive system that Chevron uses to manage their unconventional resource. And Chevron's also big in building digital twins as well. So real-time optimization, like I said earlier, we can optimize the well while it's producing with different, chemical injection and different what we call it, like Petronas has done a lot of study. Have an AI model actually will help them optimize the production by with different scenario, not scenario, also a very complex input situation. And improving results actually will seem like 25% of better production and 35% of cost reduction. And these are all these data that came from all these studies that I did from the research I did from these big producer like Exxon, has worked with Microsoft and built AI model. Chevron has the Alice system, which have digital twins also to help enhance production. BP is also, I think mainly they're using data to, if you look at all those case study is all those reports is they are utilizing the power of data to help them on all the phases of their operation, from discovery to production, drilling, into even into decommissioning, because they have environmental sensors that can help them monitor any type of abnormal situation after the well been decommissioned. So I think I'll give all those links. If you want to look into detail, you can study in the end of the slide. And from there, we want to go into the project I'm worked on 2 years, a year or two ago, about implementing the OT and IT architecture in fog, edge and fog condition. And as you know, with the IoTs being one of the key things in this oil field operation, and you can see the what type of layer that it goes into. The cloud layers is a heavy computer, heavy lifting, where you have everything live on the cloud remote. You have GPU, you have CPU, that you can even have quantum computer, like Sina said earlier, that you can do a lot of complex calculation. And then when it comes down to the next layer, the fog layer, which is the new layer that we created. Before that, we only have fog and edge, but the fog layer is what we created in this project, is to do an intermediate layer where we can process a lot of those data without having to send it over the cloud. And one of the biggest challenges for us is a lot of time our equipment is out in a remote location where it's data connections are hard to get to, and sometimes it's not very high bandwidth, and latency is also another issue that we have to fight with all the time. And by creating the fog layers, we can offload a lot of that processing locally, and then we'll cut down the amount of data we need to send up. And then the edge layer, as we all know, is a sensor device that will minimize intelligence. All they do is collecting data and send it back to the edge, to the fog, and the fog processing and sending it to the cloud. And also, I want to go into some of the stuff about the data classification on IoT. You have 3 different types of data you're collecting: the hot path, the warm path, and the cold path. When we say about hot path, it's the data that we need to be processing sub-seconds, within less than a second. And then mainly had to do with safety or critical decision we had to make within less than 1 second. The warm path is something that has more of a leeway. We can either get it done in a second to within a minute, like we say. So that can be more analysis done and more heavy lifting compute can be done in that area. And then when we talk about cold path, is mainly, for business decision stuff that you send to the cloud, and also some stuff that require a very, very heavy processing, and also the data that maybe string across multiple, what we call multiple BU. I mean, you can have drilling data, but to make business decisions, you have to look at some other data from other aspect of so they can't be in just one location. It has to be on the cloud, so we can get to your business data and business information. And I want to note one thing, that to make the fog layer available, realizable, is because of a lot of these enabling technology. One of them is Starlink satellite connection. Without that, historically, we use, before Starlink, we use sales tower and some satellite SATCOM to set data back and forth. But the problem is just the latency and a limited amount of bandwidth. With Starlink, we can get pretty good latency, and also we can get a wider bandwidth. So that enables us to push more data to the cloud. And also the advancement in some of the LLM models, where you see like Llama, the smaller model, where we can run it on the smaller hardware that we can locate on the field. And we can process actually a lot of like images and logs and stuff like that with just a very small model with like I say 20 billion parameters model, which can easily run on a very small machine. And here's the architecture that we did on the IoT project that we did. And you can see here, this is all your sensors, and the frac pumps, all your sensors, and here's all your wells data, and here's all your manifold data and your well data, and they all get feeds into an MQTT gateway, and also your controlling equipment down here. And then here's all your control, and all this is translated into MQTT's what they call an IoT gateway. And the IoT gateway will transmit because all these are different protocols. Down here, some of these are CAN bus, some of these are RS-485 or analog 420 milliamps. All these different type. And when you get to IoT gateway, is to mainly to translate all that protocol into a standardized protocol that we can push out. So that can be a MQTT mainly we use because it's more descriptive and a lot, and we can easily extract those data with the language model. And when you get to the fog layer, you split it into your 3 different paths, and then they will be transmitted either to a local storage, or you can use some kind of local intelligence to process it, and you can do action. And then mainly most of this is enabled by a Docker container. We'll run all this stuff on a container, so it's easy to manage, easy to update. And then we'll have a wall here, firewall, and then we'll send the rest to the cloud layer where you drive the business engine down here. You see Power BI and all this, so they will proof of all this data. So now they can actually get real-time statistic from the well site with this scheme, because we sent a lot of these data up real time to the cloud, and we'll process. And another thing about the fog layer is we can process a lot of data, pre-process a lot of data instead of having just send a whole chunk out to the cloud. We can just pre-process with the large language model, and then send the critical information back to the cloud. That will help us with the bandwidth as well. And that's pretty much what that slide is all about. And in closing, I just want to, two of the biggest enabling technology we have is the on the fog computing layer is the connectivity by Starlink, and then the able to run the local LLM. And that's all I have for today. And here is all the reference resource that if you want to get, you can take a look at it. And
Okay. Thank you so much, Moses.
let me unshare it myself.
Okay, thank you for that very in-depth presentation on cloud architecture and how AI has been of use by the oil and gas companies. I can see some questions. We would take all the questions. Let's take one message from one of our sponsors. We'll go through the questions. So. Okay. Okay.
Petrovision, we are a trusted energy consultancy firm designed to provide integrated and specialized services to the energy sector and financial institutions. With offices in London, Lagos, and Cape Town, our reach spans over 25 countries, helping clients make smarter, safer, and more sustainable energy decisions. From integrated asset evaluations to advanced field development planning, technical and commercial due diligence, our team of seasoned professionals has a strong track record of successful advisory engagements. We also provide commercial and technical advisory service, pre-finance due diligence, post-disbursement monitoring. Amongst others, our specialist services extend to rock physics, geomechanics, and unconventional reservoirs, while also embracing the energy transition, carbon capture, ESG assessments, and mineral exploration. Driven by excellence and powered by experience, Petrovision is your strategic partner in unlocking energy value responsibly and efficiently. Our satisfied clients are a testament to our commitment and results. Contact Petrovision today.
Okay, I can see some hands up. Nkiruka, can you unmute yourself?
Good evening, Olufunke and everyone.
Good evening.
There's been so much. I've been taking in a lot. There's been so much. AI is like a buzzword in the industry. So I wanted to ask Shino. He gave a very insightful presentation. For people like us who are in the energy industry, who are really looking to upskill, everyone is saying AI is going to take over all the jobs and things. I'm a corrosion engineer, and I'm not just speaking about engineering, but people like me who are new to AI, I want to ask Shino, please, what skills, where do you think someone like us who want to take advantage of AI, where should we start from? We don't want the AI drive to catch us unawares. So for someone like us who is just starting, where do you think we should start from? That's just my question. Thank you.
Okay, Axel, you can take that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nikira. Great question. And the right mindset on it. Where do you start? I think you're doing the right thing now by joining webinars. And as I said, go to live events. If they have that nearby while where you live, go to talks and breakfast meetings and everything, and just engage with people. I have found that so much of the knowledge and cutting edge stuff isn't in a beautiful format in a specific school or web page, but you find it in sort of the jungle telegraph, we call it in Norway, like speaking with people. Then the approach I take is also YouTube, search around there, and be aware of school. I'll write that here. That's where I learned a lot of my automation skills, is through school.com. People create communities for everything regarding marketing, AI tools, a lot of good resources there. Thank you. A great question.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I like that you say a lot of these cutting edge things about AI are not in a beautiful format. It's like a jungle out there. Just go in there and just listen to what people are saying, and then you can, trying to make sense of it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Funke.
Okay.
If I wanted to chime in.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Go ahead again. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so firstly, for anyone who is, if you're like an SME in any aspect of oil and gas or any industry at all, simple. It's actually AI is a tool. It's supposed to enable you augment what you're doing. If you already have problem solving mindset, that is where you start from. So you then now begin to say, how could I solve specific problem in my space that maybe have been solving in a particular traditional way using AI tools. So you could list a couple of problems and maybe have a one-on-one on some experts on AI. I normally on a day-to-day basis solve these problems. Which of these do you think AI can solve? And start from the simplest kind of problems, and then you can begin to integrate AI. The reality about AI is still at the beginning, at the very beginning stage. And there are very few use cases. We're still looking for use cases. You might be the one that will come up with some unique solution that somebody probably never thought about. The goal for us as AI people is to push this tool to those who are closest to the problem, who are SMEs in those different areas, so that they can now apply. Because for us, there's no way we will know what you're trying to solve, but you know what you're trying to solve. They are being paid for solving some kind of problem. Now, if you are able to kind of list those and begin to practice, I learn more from doing than just going to. You can go to all the webinars in this world and you're still not making that much progress. But once it's a good start. I'm not ruling out going to webinars. You learn, you hear about what people are doing, hear some of the best practices they've applied. But then when you begin to apply and solve simple problems using AI, then that's the beginning. You are inspired to do more and you keep going. Then people applaud you, you do more. And that's the way. That's what I would recommend to people.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aki. Thank you. That was very, very useful. Thank you.
Okay. I have a question to all the presenters from Tony Akpe. He says the energy industry is capital intensive and the uncertainties are quite high and varied. Knowing that AI usage is only as good as the quality of data it learns from, what are some of the pitfalls that we should look out for and what mitigations can we put in place? Anybody can take that.
Okay, so it's very good. Thanks, Tony, for that. I mean, data for any, either in the oil and gas or any other industry, data is the beginning place for all of this. The quality of your data, your interpretation is as good as the quality of the data that you have. So what there are algorithms and there's some new tools that have been developed for that to improve data. And also, I think I know that one big solution with AI is, for example, it takes out some errors, human error in even acquiring data, say from the field. If you had some engineer go to like the wellhead to copy stuff from maybe some numbers or maybe production or whatever it is trying to take, it might make some error, but if that's automated with some kind of knowledge AI and you transmit things real time, you already eliminated the source of error. So AI is already eliminating, many errors that come from like acquiring data in itself. And also beyond that, there are tools now that is able to help you reduce error. So valid point, valid question. You might not be able to get 100% result in eliminating error, but you can improve it significantly.
Okay. Thank you. This question is for Moses or Axel. It's from Bosuno Bileye. It says, with LLM and false positives, how could this affect AI in the framework?
I mean, I think I'll take this one. With the LLM, yeah, LLM can make an error, but I think you got to remember humans are your still last resort because you only use LLM to help you make your job a lot faster, a lot easier. But they're not making the real decision. Decision is still you had to make the decision. Humans still have to make the decision.
Okay.
Absolutely. I agree with that, and not treating any AI system like a black box of unlimited wisdom. Don't disconnect it from the people who are experts in their fields, and you still want that because usually AI gets you 80% of the way there, but actually having the experts in whatever it be still present is crucial for that quality check-in.
Okay, thank you. Please, we have to wrap up the session. Please put your questions in the chat box. We would send you follow-up emails to answer the questions. And so as we wrap up today's session, I hope you're walking away not just informed but energized. We're in the energy industry anyway. The digital shift is already happening, and there's room for everybody to lead, to collaborate, and innovate, whether you're the one writing codes or you're writing your work processes. I want to say thank you to all of our brilliant speakers. Thank you to everybody that joined us. Thank you so much to the team that behind the scenes that made all of this possible. I also want to say thank you to our sponsors, Spectrum Crest Oil and Gas Services and Petrovision. We'll be sharing a follow-up resource. It's an ebook. It's titled AI Insights for Energy Professionals. It's in the chat box. For joining the webinar today, it's going to be free for download the next 48 hours. Just use the code ENERGY. And if you also want to stay connected to this community, we have our LinkedIn community link in the chat box. Until then, please keep asking questions, stay curious. We would let everyone know when we have the next episode in this series. Thank you so much, everybody. And remember that the future of the energy industry is not just powered by fuel, it's powered by ideas. See you at the next session. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Axel.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Session.
Thank you.